We're going to be talking about the Chelsea system. What is it? So we'll talk a little bit of defining what is the Chelsea system, how does it work, which is going to be the very important thing there to figure out how to make tee times and how we assign tee times through the Chelsea system. And then we'll talk a little bit about using Chelsea and some of the additional features that are available to you as a golf member at Herons Glen. And then we'll also go into a little bit of summary right at the very end of the presentation. So the Chelsea system, what is it? Well, Chelsea is a tee time reservation system, the one we use here at Herons Glen, and it's been in business since 1987. So it's been around for a long time, located right on the other coast in Coral Springs. It's one of the most widely used reservation systems, including many of our courses here in Florida. And it can be accessed through the internet, or you can even call Chelsea directly using your touch tone phone. Now, it's designed to set up tee times in a fair and consistent manner. And basically, the Chelsea system is going to work in a way that prioritizes tee time requests in a manner consistent with the policy of the club. And generally speaking, that is going to be those who have played more have less priority than those who have played less. And we'll get into more of that specifically a little bit later in the presentation. Now, Chelsea does provide you with your specific tee time information, and it also has some course information and upcoming events, such as men's leagues and ladies' leagues, that we use the system for to sign up for those specific tournaments. So getting into how does it work? Well, the Chelsea system, it accepts tee time requests, and that's a big word there, requests, an important word, I should say, 4 to 8 days prior to the day that you wish to play. So you can use the Chelsea system to go in and put a request in 4 to 8 days before you want to play golf. Chelsea then assigns tee times. It takes all of those requests that it has received and turns them into a tee time based on a priority system. Priority is established in relation to how many times you've played in the last 14 days backwards from the day we're actually placing the tee sheet. So, for instance, on Monday mornings, Thursday's tee sheet comes out. Chelsea's going to look back 14 days from Monday, determine how many times you have played, and then it's going to establish a priority ranking based on the number of times that you've played in that 14-day window. Now, important thing to keep in mind with priority, it looks at the entire request to assign that priority ranking, not just the individual golfers, but say, for instance, you have a foursome, it's going to look at all 4 players in that request, add up all of the play history, the play counts that those players have received, divide, and come up with a ranking. So again, it's looking at the entire request, not just the individual golfers. So every time that you play here at Herons Glen and you're on the tee sheet, you're going to receive a point or a play point. You play in the non-league days or the league days or the tournament events, you're going to receive a point when you play. And again, that goes back into your play history, which is that 14-day window, moving backwards from the day that we come out with the actual tee sheet. If we look at an example here of a foursome that has put a request into Chelsea, player A, B, C, and D, we can see that the play points vary. Some play more than others. And we can see the player B here only has 2 points in the last 14 days. And player A has 5. And down here, player C has been playing quite a bit, has 7 points. And player D has 6 points. So in this request, what Chelsea's going to do is add up all of these play points right here for the 4 players. Then it's going to divide by 4, since there's 4 players here in the group. And then that will give us a play average, which will be used in the ranking system. So again, it's going to add up all 4 players here in the foursome, then divide by 4 to get a point average for that particular group. Now, again, looking at how tee times are going to be placed, or all those requests are going to be placed and turned into tee times, Chelsea is using a priority system based on that average that we just talked about. And the lowest average is going to have more priority. So again, it's going to look at players or groups, requests, let's say foursomes, threesomes. It's going to look at those who have a lower play history and prioritize them over groups that have a higher play history, who've been playing more golf on the tee sheet. So an example, we have 2 different groups here that have requested a 9 o'clock tee time. Group A has an average, again, of that request, the average of 5 points, so 5.0, and Group B, who also has requested 9 o'clock, has an average of 3 points for the group, or 3.0. So Group B would have a higher priority since they've played less and would get the 9 o'clock tee time over Group A. Group A would then be evaluated against all other groups requesting 9 a.m. or earlier, and depending on where they fall in the ranking against those other groups, that will determine where they end up on the tee sheet. So they could end up at 9:30, they could end up earlier, they could end up even later, even somewhere around 12 o'clock, let's say, if there are more groups with a lower play average that have requested the earlier time, in this case, 9 o'clock. So again, Chelsea is going to rank your group or your request against all the other groups and put you in a ranking order based on your play history. And then Chelsea is going to go down that ranking sheet from the number 1 rank all the way through all the tee times and start making all those requests into tee times and put you on the tee sheet. Now moving on, when Chelsea assigns tee times, so it takes all of those requests. Again, it does its ranking based on the play history, but when it takes these requests and actually assigns tee times, that is called placement, where Chelsea is placing your group onto the tee sheet. So that's when officially you have a tee time. Prior to that placement being done, your request is just that. It is a request, and you don't actually have a tee time. Chelsea will confirm that your request has been accepted, but it's still just in a request phase at that point. It is not a tee time. Tee times go through the placement process, which is the ranking we just spoke of. And when all the tee times are done, they go into what we call a category called booking. So you have booked a tee time and your group is officially on the tee sheet. You are now in the booked or booking category. Now, once the placement is completed, you can still put your name on the tee sheet. So say you didn't get in that request phase of 4 to 8 days prior to the day you want to play. So you didn't put a request in, but you still want to get out there and try to play golf. Well, you can still add your name to the tee sheet. You just have to call us here in the golf shop. We will look at the tee sheet, and anything that's open on there, we're happy to put you on the tee sheet and fit you in as best we can. But you can no longer use Chelsea to put yourself on the tee sheet at that point. You do have to contact us here in the pro shop, and we will certainly help you there and take care of you of getting you on the tee sheet as best we can. So if we look at the placement, this is how the week will work as far as placement. So when we look at Sunday through Saturday, the tee sheets are created on the days 3 days prior. So for instance, on Thursday is when Sunday's tee sheet is going to come out. On Friday, Monday's tee sheet will come out, and you will see that pattern as you look at the schedule here. So that's important to know if you wanted to make a request. Let's say you wanted to request Friday for a tee time for your group. Well, you need to make sure that that request is put in before Tuesday, because on Tuesday, what's going to happen is Friday's tee sheet is going to go through that placement process, and all of those requests will become bookings. So you can no longer put a request into Chelsea on Tuesday if you're looking to play on Friday. So it's important to know the schedule and time it out properly so that you make sure you get all of your requests in at the right time before those tee sheets are go through that placement process and turn into bookings. Now you can add or edit a request up until midnight prior to the day of placement. So if we go back to our Friday example right here, you can see that again, Tuesday, Friday's tee sheet is going to be placed. So up until midnight on Monday, 11:59, you can still put a request in for Friday, but once we hit midnight, you can no longer put that request in for Friday, because Tuesday morning, Chelsea is going to run through that placement and put all those requests into tee times at that point. When you look at the Chelsea system and how to use the system, one of the things to keep in mind here is that we go through the Herons Glen website. So you go to the Herons Glen website, www.heronsglencc.com, and then you'll see here there's an option. If you hover over the golf tab, we'll get a drop-down box, and we will see Chelsea options populating as you hover over that. So you'll go over the golf button here, you'll come down to Chelsea, and then you'll click right over here where it says Chelsea Reservations, and that will get you to the login screen where you'll actually get logged into Chelsea to make your request. So the first thing you want to do is go to the official Herons Glen website, log in, use your resident login information, then go over the golf tab, go down to Chelsea, over to Chelsea Reservations, and that will get you to our Chelsea login screen. And this is what the login screen is going to look like once you click on that Chelsea Reservations option. Here you can see you have your member number, which is going to be your house number or account number with either a 1 for gentlemen or a 2 for ladies in front, and then your password here. So this would be the official login screen for the Chelsea system. And to do that, again, you need your member number, what we call your Chelsea number, and your password. And if you forgot your password, we can always reset it. We don't see your password here, but we can reset it for you. And obviously we can help you with your Chelsea number or member number as well, if you need that information. Once you do log in, you enter that information, you will get right here to our home screen, which is the welcome page. You can see we're logged in under Pro Shop here on this side. But this is your welcome screen, and there's some information here. You can see your schedule of tee times. You can also see information regarding some upcoming events, that sort of thing, from the welcome screen. When we get into using the system, across the top, you have these tabs right across the very top of the page. And from here is where you're going to navigate through the different menus. As you can see here, we're at the request phase. So this tab is where you're going to click if you're going to add a request in it, or as you can see, there's a drop-down box with quite a few options. I can add a new request. I can edit a existing request. So if I need to change a name or somebody has canceled in my group, I can edit the request there. I can delete the request if I need to remove my group from that particular day or that request. I'm able to go in and actually delete the entire request. And down here you can see there's add an event request, and this tab is going to be for a league play, men's 18, ladies 9. So if you're looking to add your name into the league for that particular week, you would go down here to the event request. And again, you have those options inside the event to edit your event request or delete an event request. So as long as you're in that 4 to 8 day window here, you should have that opportunity to go in and make some changes if you need to, or add a request into the Chelsea system. Now again, as we look here, 4 to 8 days in advance of the day that you wish to play, to make those requests in Chelsea. Now, once you choose to make a request, it's pretty simple. Inside, you're just going to follow the prompts here. It's going to ask you the day that you're looking to play. It's going to ask you the time that you'd like to play. And then it's going to go over to the player info, where you would then enter all the players in your group. As you can see here, you can put the member number, which again is the Chelsea number. You could enter that into each one of these slots to fill that up for your foursome. You can also use this little magnifying glass right here. If you don't know somebody's number, you use this magnifying glass and you can look up a player by their last name and then add them into your request. So if you click on the little magnifier, again, it brings up a little menu where you search by last name and then can add them into your group. Also here, you can see once I put the first number in, I have the option to designate whether the next player or any of these players are going to be guests. So if it was a guest, I would simply click right here on the drop-down box. And then instead of saying no guest, I would select guest. And that would then populate this particular position with a guest of the player right above the box here. So, and remember, guest play doesn't count against your play history. So if you do have yourself and let's say 3 guests here, your play history is only going to show 1 point. So the guests are not going to count against you in your play history. Now they do show up there, in your file as having a guest, but again, it doesn't count against you in your point history when you have guests playing with you. But again, this is where you would submit the information. And then of course, once you have everybody in here that you want to have playing on that particular request, you would hit the submit button. And once you do that, you're going to get a confirmation number as well as an email from Chelsea that is confirming that your request has been put into the system and received by Chelsea. Now, if you do not get a confirmation number, then you're going to have to go back in and do the request again because something did not go correctly and Chelsea did not receive that particular request. So again, make sure that you do get a confirmation number because that is your guarantee that your request has been put into the system. And again, you'll get an email confirming that request as well. And keep in mind, it is just a request until placement is done. So you won't know until the placement is done what tee time you actually received. To move on, looking at this, if again, you can go back in and you can edit a request if you need to change out a player or cancel out. If you go into the edit screen under that request tab, as you can see, you put in your confirmation number, your member number, and then you can go through and edit that request and make any changes or corrections that you need to make. Moving on to the review tab, which is one of the options across the very top of that welcome screen. And when you look at the review tab, you've got quite a few options here. And this is a good screen to know because sometimes you don't know if you put a request in or not, or maybe you forgot to look at the email. You can go in here to the review tab and review a lot of information. If I go right here to review my information, I can see my schedule. So that my schedule would mean any tee times that I have booked that have been booked for me. I can look at my schedule, see what time I'm playing, see who I'm playing with. So very, very nice feature here. I could also review any requests that I have, any standby lists that I might be on. I could look at my points and see how many points I currently have. And then also I can come down here and review my play history and see the days that I have played. So this is a very nice feature here in Chelsea, to be able to go in and look at all of your schedule and your requests and your points. This is a nice place to go. You can also review a tee sheet. So if you wanted to look at a specific tee sheet that has been placed, you can look at the tee sheet, and maybe you say, okay, well, I'm looking at the tee sheet and it looks like there's a twosome open here at 12:30 on a Thursday, and you can give us a call in the pro shop, and that's still open right there. We can put you onto the tee sheet. So it's nice to be able to review the tee sheet in case you're looking to play last minute thing or something. It's a beautiful day out, you want to get out there and play some golf. You can look at the tee sheet and see if there's any openings, and then give us a call, and we can put you in those spots. And again, you can also review your play history and your points. You can see how much you have in your file there. So again, very handy feature there on the review tab. Now under the profile tab, you can see we had our request tab, we had a review tab, then over here we have the profile tab, and this is where you can go in. You can update your password, your email address, phone number, cell phone number. You can put an emergency contact in here, an emergency telephone, and then down here you even see your points here on this screen as well. So this is the profile page. Another nice feature right here, which we'll talk about briefly in a moment in the presentation, is the buddy list. So the buddy list is something that can help you kind of get through making requests a little bit quicker if you find that you're playing with the same people a lot of the times. You can pull names from the buddy list, and that will kind of be easier than looking up every player by their last name if you didn't know their member number. And again, you can create your buddy list here. So the profile page is just a page you can come in anytime and update the information as it may change, and it'll help us keep our files accurate as well. Now, looking at the buddy list, as we just mentioned, if you normally play with a lot of the same players, you can save players as you do your request. It'll give you an option to save players to your buddy list, and here you can even go deeper into it, and you can create different buddy lists. Say if there's certain days and you play with different people on other days, you can make 4 different lists here of players, and that will just save you some time when you're putting those requests in, as you can just pull up your buddy list and pull players right off of that list to put into your request. You can also search for golf members down here by last name, and then plug them into your buddy list as well. So buddy list is a nice feature right there to save you some time when making your request. And it's something that I advise people to go in and use and take a look at. It's just a very nice feature of Chelsea to be able to create your list. And again, create multiple lists. So you don't have just one list, you can create specific ones here, and just to help you with the request. And now we've reached our summary part of the presentation on our Chelsea system for today. Remember, Chelsea is the best way to request tee times. You have that 4 to 8 day window where you can come in and make your request ahead of time. If you don't use the Chelsea system, again, you can only make the request 3 days ahead, and that's after all the requests that have been put into Chelsea have been placed onto the tee sheet. And again, if it's a nice day, it's a last minute thing, you want to try to get out there and play, give us a call in the pro shop, and we will certainly try to get you out there to play some golf. But as far as making advanced reservations, the best way to do that is to use the Chelsea system. Now, remember, requests are only requests until we do that placement. So you put that request in 7 days ahead of time for 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. That is just a request. Until we do the placement for Friday, which is on Tuesday, then it will become an official tee time. So again, please keep that in mind. Requests are just a request until we actually do the placement 3 days ahead of time. Remember that plays are averaged for the entire request or linked group. Now, linked group is something that during the height of season, January, February, March through April 15th, you're not able to link foursomes together. But if you did link groups together outside during the off season or outside of that 3.5 month window, once you're able to do linking and put groups together, Chelsea's going to look at all the players that have been linked and come up with an average for the group. So if you had 3 foursomes that you had linked together, Chelsea's going to add up all the plays for all the players in those 3 foursomes, divide by 12, and give you an average for the entire link group. Now, during the height of season, again, January, February, March into April, where you're not able to link groups, Chelsea is going to look at the foursome or all the players in the request, add up their play history, and divide by the number of players in the request to give you an average. So again, it doesn't look at just individuals, it looks at the entire group or the entire request. Again, you can visit the Herons Glen website to log into Chelsea and get some additional information. We are a resource here for you in the Pro Shop. Certainly myself or one of the staff, more than happy to help you out with any questions or concerns, or if you're having issues using the system, again, contact us here in the golf shop, and we'll be happy to walk you through any issues that you're having or answer any questions you may have regarding the Chelsea system. You can see, again, the Chelsea system, we advocate using the internet version of it. It does have a lot more options for you to use and to take advantage of, but you can also call Chelsea directly. The number here at the bottom, 239-567-9815, using the touch-tone phone, and it is a menu-driven recording there that will walk you through the steps of making a request. But again, visiting the website, logging into Chelsea is going to be the best way to make your Chelsea reservations and get information on your upcoming tee times, league information, as well as your play history, your buddy list. All of those good things come from the website. Thank you for joining me today for the Chelsea presentation, and we'll see you out there on the golf course.